Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn making a square, opposition, or inconjunct aspect to one's natal Uranus. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Saturn, they could be about limitations, restrictions, responsibilities, delays, obstruction, sorrow, despondency, fears, inhibitions. And when you're talking about transit Saturn basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Uranus, now I'm going to elaborate on that. When I say basically adverse aspect, well, the squares and oppositions in astrology, of course, are adverse. And well, the inconjunct aspect can be seen as a neutral, but neutral aspects can have good and bad qualities to them. So it has some bad qualities to them. So yeah, an inconjunct in astrology can often require an adjustment or a transition, which of course can cause certain tension and exasperation. And so collectively, basically, it's an adverse transit is how I see it. So anyway, again, when you have a transit Saturn basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Uranus, well, it may manifest in limitations, restrictions, responsibilities, duties, laborious efforts, delays, sorrow, despondency, fears, inhibitions. These things may conflict with your freedom and independence. It can be something where maybe there's some reluctance, or you're apprehensive about really being free. You might be weighing the pros and cons of being in a situation where you're under, someone's auspices or authority, and maybe you feel that, your situation, even though if you don't feel as free, it's something where you're surviving. But then, on the other side of the coin, having freedom and independence will give you some positives, and you feel like you can kind of do, more what you want, even if your life situation becomes a little bit harder, such as paying more money for rent, as an example. And say if like the fourth house, say the fourth house is involved, it can be, or you have Uranus, natal Uranus in the fourth, it could be over a home or family situation. Now, Uranus is also connected with society and groups, and it might be a transit where you might have some difficulty or fear in going into more being integrated more in society at this time. It can be where career-related matters, responsibilities may challenge matters with groups at this time, or if you're involved in any club or organization at this time, it may be a time where where your responsibilities and your work, it could be career, it could simply be doing things that are work related, may not necessarily be connected with your career, are challenging, perhaps matters with groups and clubs and organizations. Um, you might be dealing with now. Uranus is also connected with friendships. So again, it can be, like conflict, with your work and your friends at this time. You might be, going back and forth, seeing, what should take precedence over the other at this time. It might be, more of an effort, a laborious effort to do things, as far as activities with friends at this time, more so than usual. Maybe you're just seeing a lot of the negative in these people at this time, and you don't have that incentive or motivation to be involved with them as much as usual. Now, the thing about this transit too is that, remember that Saturn is very conservative energy, it's orthodox, and Uranus is very unconventional and unorthodox. So you might be at a pole at this time between sticking with what the true and the tried is, being more conservative with things, or actually trying to do something new. It could be like the battle with the track phone versus the smartphone at this time, and it something like that. The thing about this is, you might be torn between what you feel more comfortable with and the way you're accustomed to doing things, as opposed to new ways of doing them at this time. And Another thing too is that, I mean, Uranus again is connected with the unusual and the unorthodox, and it might be, harder for you at this time to maybe adapt or make a transition to doing something in a new manner. Remember, Saturn can be about laborious efforts. It can be connected with difficulties as well, and you might find it to be more difficult in doing things in a different manner at this time, whether it could be something work related or what have you. It could be diagnosing vehicles, and you might be trying to adapt to using like the internet to do so, and having more computerized diagnosis. As an example, say if the third house, say if Uranus is in the third house, as an example, which could be connected with local transportation, that could be in that example there, as far as doing things different as far as vehicles go, as opposed to Saturn being the true and the tried. uh, Another thing is that Uranus is associated with the future. In some cases, if you're, in isolated cases, if you are experiencing, say, some chronic issue, you have a debilitating illness, this could be something that might challenge what you want to do as far as your future goes. At this time, and say if Uranus, natal Uranus is in Capricorn and or the 10th house, it could be something, your future just in a career, just in general. Now, anatomically speaking, Uranus is associated with the ankles, the shins, the calves, the nerves, the lower legs, and it might be a time for for some, if you're having if you have any issues with them at this time, it might be causing more despondency, or there may be more limitations in connection with that at this time. It might be where responsibilities may be conflicting with these issues at this time, and it might be harder maybe to do them at this time, more so than usual. Now, Saturn could also be depressive. It could be depressive. It could be about sorrow and despondency, and if this could actually be true, and there's something where sadness or worry could exacerbate pain in any of the areas I described, like the ankles or shins or calves, then this is the time where it may that may actually transpire. Uranus is also connected with computers and astrology, so it might be a time where there may be some things that are connected with computers. You're doing something with astrology. Maybe it requires more effort to do it, more so than usual. It could also be where you're torn, maybe between the father, an authority figure, an older person, activities with that person, then dealing with things on the internet, the computer, or even anything else Uranus related, like astrology or astronomy or electronics, as some examples. Now, also too, again, the fact that Saturn is connected with older people, the father, authority figures, and Uranus is very erratic and sporadic energy. This could be where the connection with these people might be a little more erratic and sporadic than usual. There may be more unpredictability involving those people at this time, more so than usual. There may not be as much reliability or dependability with them. Now, Uranus is also associated with disruptions. So it can be that you might experience unexpected disruptions may conflict with your career, your work that you're doing. There may be responsibilities at this time. You may be trying, Saturn is also about structure and discipline. Say if you're trying to get structure and discipline in your home life, there might be some disruption that may upset this at this time. Now, another way this transit may manifest, it could be where you may be apprehensive regarding pursuing some kind of aspiration or goal at this time. Say if natal Uranus is in Aquarius, as an example, it could be the aspiration and goal could be connected with meteorology, astrology, even rocket science, astronomy, innovation, electronics, being an electrician, as some examples. Now, another thing is that it might be more of a laborious effort to do things that are group related at this time. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, also too at this time now, again, as I was stating before, it might be more of a laborious effort to do things that are group related. If the natal Uranus is in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be something, group related activity associated with sports or religion or advertising or publishing or even exploration and foreign travel. At this time as well, a father or an authority figure, an older person, may be averse to the friends that you are associating with at this time. Say if the natal Uranus is in Capricorn, as an example, it might be older people, people that are business minded or career. They might be dominated by career related matters. Maybe they're people that are just about their own interests and looking after themselves, and when they're not really father or older people. Authority figure may not think that they're the right people for you, as an example. Now, responsibilities may conflict again with sudden disruptions at this time, unexpected events. Say if the natal Uranus is in the fourth house, it could be some disruption with the home or the family life or even emotional security. Say if the natal Uranus is in Scorpio, as an example, maybe there's something, there might be some crime in the area, or there might be a stalker in the community that might be threatening you through your home life, your emotional security there. Also too, in fact, again, Saturn is connected with chronic illness. Chronic illness may challenge your plans for the future at this time. Or even doing something Uranus related in general. Say if the transit Saturn is in Libra, it might be some chronic issue with the lower back or the kidneys at this time. Maybe there's something with diabetes or hypoglycemia as well. There are some examples. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.